In this series, we're going to try take a BMW E21 from this to something like this. So let's get into it. So a couple pictures of the car after a wash, showing the rust. It was a non-runner, so we trailered it home. So this is like an overview picture of the engine bay. We'll dive into a video now. So camera angles aren't great, but just to talk you through what I was seeing here. So the shock towers have a lot of surface rust, but looks like it'll clean up. The top mounts are cracked and need replacing. Coolant overflow tank is empty. The radiator was badly damaged. The brake master cylinder is leaking. The clutch fluid reservoir was empty with tape on the lid, so we know there's going to be an issue with the clutch. We have cut wires, trying to see where they go to. Looks like we've new spark plug leads. Brake booster has a lot of corrosion too. We got no battery. Windscreen washer tank missing its lid. Ignition coil seems to have been replaced at some point. Some Bosch control unit looks like it had water ingress. The thermostat housing was leaking coolant. I was told the car had electrical and carburetor issues and hadn't ran in 10 years. So quick look at the interior. Seats unbolted, ripped, dash half out, wiring pulled out, carpets ripped up. Going into the boot, a lot of surface rust. I was trying to see how solid it was. The obvious hole we see in the boot floor, I thought maybe that was going to be a hole that should have had a rubber plug for draining water. That got bad. Turns out it isn't supposed to be a hole there at all. More strange shoddy wiring, then going to a key switch in the fuel cap. Turns out this is for an old aftermarket installed alarm system to engage or disengage the alarm. So this BMW has its original BMW M20 B20. It's a 6-cylinder 2-litre petrol engine. It's got a single overhead cam with 2 valves per cylinder. This engine was also found in early model BMW E30s. It's got a timing belt instead of a timing chain. BMWs are known for their timing chains, but this engine has a belt. It's a good, reliable engine. So here I'm connecting a 12-volt switch directly to the starter solenoid. This way we don't have to turn the key inside the car's cabin to be able to start the car.
My engineering knows no bounds. Bring the thunder.
Bring the thunder!
We have spark. We're going to put some fuel down the yap of the carb and see will it fire off. From that last clip we can tell the car wanted to run. It's got spark, it's got compression, it's got air. We just need to address the fuel. This is the fuel pump. Okay, so I'm trying to understand the flow of fuel here. So we've pipes coming out of the fuel pump that's going into, it looks like a fuel regulator. Then we have a return line that goes back to the tank. So we have a line that goes straight to the fuel pump that then pumps it to the fuel regulator. Then that decides how much to give to the carburetor, and the excess fuel then goes back to the tank.
A few moments later.
Note to self, remember the top one sucks, the bottom one blows. Think I see the problem, so I got the fuel pump out. There's supposed to be a spring inside here. The lobe comes up, presses this up. See the way that's sticking? That's supposed, yeah, see, I just pulled it down there now. That should have pressure on it, so when I push it up, it should come back down. So every time, yeah, see it drop there. Every time the lobe goes over, it should be pumping up and down, but it looks like it pumps up once, it sticks. There we go. See, it's loosening now, but still not good enough. It should have a good bit of pressure, but this is sticking, which means it's not actually pumping anything.
Check for pumpage. got fuel. We've removed the back seat, unbolted the 4 plates, and here we have the fuel pickup. Here we're taking a look inside the tank to see how dirty the fuel is, or do we have any contamination. We do, so we want to siphon that out before putting the fuel pickup back in after cleaning the filter. So modern cars, you'd have a fuel pump in the tank that pumps the fuel up to the engine bay. The BMW has a fuel pickup, so the mechanical fuel pump in the engine bay sucks the fuel from the tank up to the engine. So now we've siphoned any dirt out of the fuel tank, we put a new filter on the fuel pickup, we did new fuel lines, and now we added an inline filter just before the fuel pump. So now that we've got the engine running roughly, we're going to move on to some electrical issues. I was trying to figure out what this box was that was bolted here that has different coloured wires taped going to it. Turns out it was an old alarm system that we're just going to remove. So we've taken apart the fuse box here. We're just trying to see the different wires that are going in underneath it, see what's spliced, what's original, what's okay, what isn't, make sure nothing's chewed by any mice or other animals. So we're going through it here. I do notice a random relay with black tape with all yellow wires coming out of it that leads into another box under the dash here. It seems like this is all wired up for the aftermarket alarm system. So one electrical issue that we're trying to figure out here is the heater blower motor. It's got 3 speeds, it doesn't turn on at any speed. We already know it's not the fuse in the fuse box. We're trying to trace wires here, see what's going on. The blower motor is that circular box in the middle near the firewall. So at the fuse for the blower motor we should be getting 12 volts on one side, and we are not. So we're trying to figure out what's going on there. We're going to put 12 volts directly to the blower motor and see what happens. Okay, so putting 12 volts directly to the motor worked. It just had a terrible squeak. The bearings are shot in it, so we pulled out the blower motor. We're taking a look. We definitely are going to grease up the bearings on it, see can we get it like working perfectly. If not, we'll try to get a new one or a second-hand one. Okay, so in order to find out what's wrong with our blower motor not coming on, we need to check out this wiring diagram on how it works. Okay, so let's look into this. We have our positive end up here and our negative is down at the bottom, and we can see we've 2 negative terminals down here. We're going to focus on the blower motor side. So the current needs to pass from one end to the other in order to spin the motor. So that's the path it's going to take. And so what's in the way of that is we have a 4-pin relay up here, we have a fuse, we have the blower motor itself, and then a 3-speed switch which adjusts the level of resistance, making it harder for electricity to flow, meaning the motor will spin slower. One thing we know is the blower motor itself works since we were able to turn it on with 12 volt direct power from the battery. Now, going back to the fuse box, we can check if it has a fuse or if it's blown. Even without a fuse, we should be able to get 12 volts to the positive pin on the blower in the fuse box. We weren't getting 12 volts, we weren't getting any voltage, so that means the problem is upstream. So let's have a look at the relief relay. So it looked like a new one had been installed. I tested the relay on the car, it worked okay. So what's the point of a relief relay? Well, basically when you're trying to start your car, you want to give the starter motor as much cold cranking amps as possible to get the engine turned over as quick as possible to fire it up. The relief relay cuts power to other electronic features in the car to give the starter motor as much power as possible. This means when you turn the key to start your car, you're going to cut power to the heater, you're going to cut power to the rear window heater, other features like that in the car. So there was a new relay put into the car that fit perfectly and it worked because I tested it off the car, but on closer inspection when I compared it to the horn relay from the E21 that hadn't been replaced, the numbering of pins were in a different order. Pin 30 and pin 86 were inverted. What this meant was it was working in opposite effect as intended. When cranking the starter, the blower motor would work, but when not cranking, it was blocking power going to the electronics like the blower motor and rear heater gas. So we ordered a new old stock original relay for the car and that fixed it.
Seems to have done it.
So next on the list of repair is the interior. I had some Mark V GTI seats from a Golf and I just placed it in here, see how I liked it. I like the look of it, I think it's going to work, so let's get to making it happen. So we cut some 8mm steel, drilled some holes, got that bolted in. Now we're trying to make up a template for the Golf seat rails. So first issue we run into here trying to put custom seat rails to mount Golf Mark V GTI seats onto an E21 is the rails are uneven. So on the outside edges the rails are about twice the height as the inside edges on an E21, which means the seat rails on an E21 are like staggered. But obviously the Golf seat rails lay flat like you'd expect, so we need to adjust and make stands on one side to make it level. Okay, so this is just in the process of making the risers that we're going to use for one side of the seat rails. We're just tapping threads into it, then we're going to weld that onto the adapter plates that we're making so the seat can bolt straight into it. Gonna look a bit rough here, but everything gets tidied up before it gets put into the car and it's strong. So the welder we were using here to start was a gasless MIG or flux core welder. We switched to use like gas proper MIG welder and it came out a lot cleaner than this in the end. But yeah, now we just hit it with a quick bit of black paint so it won't rust.
Okay, so the seat is in. It's got good height. It's level. It can go up, down. It can go back and forth on its rails. This whole thing tilts forward and back. The lumbar support goes in and out. Like, that's all good. The only thing is now, when I sit into the car, my knees are close to the wheel. Like, other than that, it's fine. And like, if I do go back, I can go back, but they're still close to the wheel. So I wonder, should I shave down the front supports a bit, or is that going crazy?
So we'll come back to the steering wheel issue later, but rest of the interior, we ordered red seat belts for the car. We're going to do a black interior with red accents. So this is us unbolting the old seat belts. It was held in at 3 places. So this is the seat belts, how they look in the car. If you don't see the vision yet, just wait for it, because the rest of the interior needs to be black with other red accents in order for this to work. We're going to change the color of the door cards, the carpet. Luckily the dash is already black. So this is us dyeing the door cards and the handles. This is for the back door cards. It's another picture for the left hand side door card. Then we're moving on to the back parcel shelf. A lot of this, what you're seeing right now, also is only 1 or 2 coats and it's still wet, so it looks a lot better when it's dried. Yep, so Just more pictures of the door cards. So this is the carpet right now before we pulled it out. This is midway through spraying it. It needs a few more coats. This is it when we're getting ready to put it back into the car. And here is, we're finalizing it, getting the interior back into the car after it's done. So this is what it's looking like with the door cards back on, the dyed carpet back in with 4 new floor mats. Still needed to put in the back seat, the back parcel shelf, some other interior bits. Okay, this is the back seat back in with the parcel shelf, back door cards. We added a red gear shifter, as red as our accent colour. So this is the steering wheel we went for. It's, I think, 2 inches smaller than the standard steering wheel. I think it's going to look really nice. This is just held up to the car right now.
So it is a 36 spline, but this outer ring here is 25 mil. So 36 spline, 25 mil.
So obviously to get that wheel to fit, we needed to order a hub adapter.
It does go on, but like obviously it's expected to go on because it's the correct teeth. But yeah, it doesn't slide on as much as it should because obviously this ring here. So if the outer ridge was milled out just down 5 mil to where, like, so the height of this lip to these teeth is 5 mil, and then yeah, so if this could be just cut out a small bit and down 5 mil, then it would have that same, and it would sit in just a little bit deeper.
Next thing we have to sort is, so you're going to see there's a copper contact ring that goes around the edge of the steering wheel here. What this does is, on the hub side we have a spring loaded contact pin that you'll see underneath what I'm measuring. So a modern car, for power to buttons on a steering wheel, it would use something called a clock spring, which is like a wound up ribbon wire. The E21 uses a copper ring and a spring loaded contact pin. To get that to work with our new wheel, we needed to remove that copper ring from the old wheel and mount it to our adapter hub, and then that would put pressure on that contact spring, and then we were able to use the horn. So this is what the wheel looks like, all mounted now and ready to go.
Moment of truth. If the horn works, our work here is done for today. Oh, so let's turn on the car. Nope. Nope. There we go. Perfect.
Okay, stay tuned for next episode in the E21 series soon, where we continue the restoration. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to see more.